Hi everybody, John Morris with Baylor Men's Tennis, Coach Michael Woodson. It's time for the 2022 inaugural State of the Program. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well, John.
Appreciate you inviting us in, the great Herd Tennis facility, your office here. We need to show people around your office. I mean, this is a pretty good museum in here.
It's something. I like to have a lot of memories of my family and past teams and experiences. So I want it to be a warm and inviting place.
Very good. It is that, very much so. Well, thanks for your time. We're going to get, we've got some questions that have been tweeted in, asked of you, and some really good questions. You folks have done well with this. So we're going to pass these on to you and get a good feel for where you are right now, where the program is, about to start the spring schedule. As we record this, you start on January 14th, so it's right around the corner.
It's coming up fast. Really excited to get going. I think it's going to be a lot of fun this season.
Good. Looking forward to it. Congratulations again, before we move into this year, on last year, playing for the national championship, Big 12 champs. What a great year it was last year.
It was a phenomenal year. Yeah, we really had a blast with those guys. I mean, I thought, it was a difficult year in so many different ways, but to come together like they did and show the maturity in the class, to make the sacrifices that they needed was really special, and they earned it. I mean, it was the all credit to the guys and a great staff.
Gosh, what a great year that was. All right, looking for more of this same. Bar's pretty high for Baylor Men's Tennis. You understand that. We understand that. Let's get to some of the questions that have been tweeted in at you. Here's one from Scott Davidson, who's here anytime we open the doors. Scott says, do you have a better idea on probable lineups after fall?
That's a great question, Scott. I definitely, I think we have a lot of new guys this year. We have 5 returners. We've got 4 transfers, 3 freshmen. So it's always a bit of a struggle to try to separate the guys. But at the same time, we're working a lot on development and helping the guys become the best versions of themselves possible. So we don't want to put a ceiling on them. We don't want to slot them into any position. We want to see how they develop, how they grow, let them challenge themselves at the highest possible level that they can. And so, it can be difficult when they're all playing really high level competition day in and day out. But certainly, over time, as they practice together, as we see them gain different experiences, you can see kind of who fits in where a little bit better. Do I know where they're going to be, in a few months? Honestly, not yet. But I think that's a good problem to have.
Very good. Good question, Scott. Corey Weary says, if you had to name someone who is under the radar that should be watched, who would that be?
Oh, there's not a lot of guys on the team that are really under the radar. I would say, a couple guys that have really impressed me, and they might be surprised to say this because I think I'm on them a lot. One of our freshmen, Ethan Musa, he really has a lot of game. He has a lot of gifts. He works hard every single day, maybe a little bit too much at times, and I think that's where we get to reining him in. But when he locks it down and as he continues to grow and be around these older, more experienced guys, I mean, his ceiling is high, and I think he's somebody that could turn some heads. That's going to come out of nowhere for the fan base. And Cole Gromley has really impressed me as well. Transfer from Georgia Tech. He has played at the highest level. He's played ATP events. He's played as high as #1 singles there. But I think a little bit under the radar. Had an injury that kept him out there. Transferred. I don't think there was a lot of people really paying attention to him. He's worked really, really hard. He's had a great attitude. He's fit in really well here, and I think he's somebody to watch this season.
Cool. What a great name, Cole Gromley.
That's
one to remember.
He's got a good one.
All right, here's a question from Scotty B, who is here pretty much anytime the doors are open also. Scotty says, how would you break down the roster in terms of game style?
Well, Scotty's paying attention, so I better get this one right. I think we have a bunch of really aggressive players, but we try not to keep them, playing in any one particular style. We want to work on what works best for each particular individual. But I would say that, the top half of our lineup last year was very aggressive, and the bottom half, in general, was a little bit more consistent. You kind of see that, at times around the country, maybe if you were to generalize it. But this year, I would say we have more aggressive players than we've ever had. Guys that love to to step up in the court, attack, finish around the net, serve big, and I think that's a fun, exciting style. We want the ball in our rackets, and I think we are taking a step forward in the level of aggressive play that we have. So if I had to pick one style throughout the team, it would be that we're a super aggressive team that likes to play with the ball in our racket and dictate. We have a few guys that are consistent players that a little bit more like Spencer Furman or Nick Stakoviak that we had last year that just are not going to miss a ball, that are going to be out there all day. But it's a little bit more aggressive style of play, so it's been fun to watch in practice.
Very cool. Great question. And here's another one from Brad Beal. Brad says, what is your theory about which side they should play in doubles? Does that vary depending on the individual, or is one alignment a better strategy?
It does definitely vary depending on the individual. I think you can go so many different ways with this question. You have to start with having great chemistry between the two players, and then trying to figure out, some guys feel like they want to play on one side because it gives them an opportunity to hit their weaker stroke more often. But actually at the level that we play at, most players serve body or tee a lot. And so you actually are wanting to be in a spot where you're hitting your best stroke where they're serving most of the time. It's actually less likely that players at the highest level are going to serve to a weakness. They're going to serve their best patterns, and serve high percentage doubles plays. So we kind of think about making sure that the guys are getting their best stroke more often, and then giving them the reps, and it does depends on the player. It depends on who they're playing with. In general, in doubles, you would normally have said the ad court player maybe want to be their better returner because they're going to get more of the important points. But now with no ad scoring, the big deuce point is actually you're going to play the same number, and you could play the big point on the deuce side now. So it becomes less important than it was before. So it definitely varies by player, and it's not always. Sometimes they think that they're better on one side, and they're actually, the stats show they're better on the other. And so you really have to kind of pay attention to that, especially in a sprint to six.
That's a very knowledgeable question and a great answer. So, Brad, thanks for that. Are you one who, how much emphasis do you put on the doubles point?
We put a lot of emphasis on it. I mean, I think it made a huge difference last year for us over time. I think, you don't want to overdo it because it is just 17% of the match, but at the same time, it sets the tone. You can get so much momentum going into the singles, or you can lose momentum, if the doubles point isn't played well. And I think it's a really fun, exciting part. So it brings a different, it brings different emotions out from the players, and it's almost like a different sport. And so we really like it. We want to be good at it. It helps these guys develop their singles games, and it helps them at the next level.
Cool. All right, here's a question from Spirit. Spirit, thank you very much. What are you most looking forward to in the upcoming season?
Honestly, just being out on the court competing with the guys is such a blast. I mean, seeing them leave it all out there day in and day out is special. I mean, that's what they work so hard for. So for us just to be out there with them as coaches is a lot of fun and is so rewarding. And to see them come off of such a successful year and then work so hard. I mean, the guys that were here last year are in better place than they were, then they're really excited and ready to go. And to have these new guys in, I mean, it's always exciting to see them get out on the court and compete and see how you can help them and see how all the hard work, is going to pay off, and then ultimately throughout the season make adjustments. And I mean, that's the fun part of this job.
Yeah, it's a fun time of year, isn't it? Just getting all this going in the spring.
It's exciting. Yeah.
All right, another question from Spirit also says, how can the Baylor fan base help your team achieve your season goals?
We talk about it all the time. It's legitimately in tennis, building a fan base one at a time, because the product is fantastic. I mean, it is really exciting to come out and watch these young men and our young women compete. They're some of the best tennis players, not just in the country, but in the world. Several of these players are going to go on and make a living on the tour. And that's a rare thing to have that level of sport in an area. And what's so cool is we don't have any professional sports here. So, Baylor is it, and we have a very loyal fan base, and we're having so much success in so many different sports that it's an exciting time, and our guys love to play in front of a full stands, and a packed indoor, packed outdoor. It makes the difference. Our players play better, and you can legitimately make an impact on the match. And that's not to rag on basketball or football, but one fan isn't going to make a difference in those stadiums. But in tennis, you get a few really excited fans out there. It gets everybody going, and it makes a huge impact on the match.
That's great. Great atmosphere here, indoors and outdoors. All right, we just passed Christmas. We're into the new year. Did you get together with your family over Christmas?
I did, yeah.
Good.
It was very nice to be able to spend time, honestly, even just at home. It was one of the first times we haven't had guys on campus since December 2019. So for me, it was good to spend a little extra time with the girls, with Vanessa, to relax a little bit and recharge, and it was really a lot of fun.
Very nice. All right, going back now, question from Sherwin Newton, going back into your background. What moment in your childhood did you realize you loved tennis?
That's a great question. My mom tried to push tennis on me a lot when I was a kid, and I was no, I'm going to play baseball, I'm going to play soccer, basketball. I played everything else basically, and I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. We didn't want to go out and hit tennis balls with her, and in 7th grade, I had a couple of really good friends that went out that were really good players that had been playing for a long time. They were going to play on the JV team, and a couple of us that were not tennis players, we all wanted to be on the same team. We thought this was our chance. So we legitimately grabbed rackets out of the garage, went out for tryouts, made the team. I think I played 7, your number 1 doubles or whatever it was that first year on a team of 12 guys. And I really didn't look back. It was so much fun that I just loved being a part of that team, and we played, and it was fun to compete. We were undefeated. Had nothing to do with me. The team was actually very good. And we played 7th and 8th grade, and then going into 9th grade, I actually wanted to do it again. I wanted to play on the JV team because we were all going to be together, but the varsity coach came and said, hey, Michael, we really need you on the varsity team. And I was surprised by that, but had an opportunity and got to play on the team with 7 seniors and started, and that was really when I started to take it seriously. Was not until high school, which is not the normal tennis story, but I think it's one that keeps me excited and passionate about the sport today, because I didn't start at 2 or 3 years old like a lot of people.
Cool, that's a great story. And remind people you're from a very athletic family. I mean, you could have gone any number of directions probably.
Probably. I mean, I'm not shy about saying I'm the worst athlete in the family. I mean, if you just go down the list, it's pretty amazing. But happy to be associated with those great athletes.
Great. So that was the start of your tennis playing career.
Yes.
What about coaching? Question from Hannah Basso. What made you decide to coach?
That's I loved coaching. Even in high school, my high school coach, Debbie Peak, was very influential on me. She helped groom me as a leader, as a captain, and then I worked for her in the summers, coaching her tennis camps all over the city that I grew up in, and that made me love it. And then my mom was a teacher. My dad was a baseball coach. So I was around a lot of leadership, mentorship, impact. So I was really passionate about it. I started tutoring when I got into college. I continued to teach tennis lessons in camps, and at NC State and then at Valpo. But it really, I didn't think that I was going to go into that. It wasn't until my mom passed that I had the opportunity from my college coach to stay on and be an assistant at Valpo, and the rest is kind of history. As I look back, I should have known I would coach because I loved it so much, and I think I've loved it coaching more than playing, even when I was a player. Yeah. I mean, there were times where I would have rather sat on the bench and coached other guys than played myself. Yeah. And that I know that's not normal, but that's just how I felt. I was really passionate about helping others.
That's cool. Well, knowing you now, I think you were born to coach. So I'm glad that that passion was born in you early. Along those lines, here's a question from Kieran Vorster. In your short term as head of the team, what have you learned the most about the role, and the team?
Yes, great question from Kieran. the role is a very difficult one because I think you have to balance so much. There's the X's and O's of coaching. That you feel like that's what you're passionate about. Not so much the X's and O's, but the relationships with the players and then being out onto the court, impacting them. But as you shift into the head coaching role, there's so much more to it. There's scheduling and recruiting and fundraising and a lot more administrative work. And honestly, I love the business side, and I love recruiting. I like building relationships and fundraising, and so it is fun for me, and it keeps me engaged because I'm doing so many different things. But it's hard to balance, and you have to make sure that the players are always taken care of, and just always remembering and having that written down somewhere in case you forget. You roll out of bed, okay, are the players okay? And now you can kind of do the other things that are important. And so I think that's it's always a challenge and something you have to stay focused on. And then in my role, just making sure that I'm getting the right people around me to help lift me up and kind of make up for my weaknesses, and then learning to delegate responsibility. That's something that I would say I'm always trying to work on. I need to do a better job.
Well, very good. Kieran, I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. Good question there. Here's a question from Mike Garrison. You mentioned balance in your work life. How do you balance family life, coaching, and your appreciation of team fans?
That's Mike. Yeah. I mean, Mike comes around, and I think he sees, kind of what goes on around here, and we talk about it all the time, trying to balance the family, and that's something that I've learned a lot over time. I've been very fortunate to have great role models, great leaders that have helped me. No, I don't have to go any further than my own family. I remember when I first started coaching, my dad sat me down. I remember it like it was yesterday, and he said, "Michael, if you don't prioritize your family, if you don't get your time management straight in this job, I know you're passionate about it, it's not going to work. You're not going to be fulfilled." And I'll never forget what he said to me and how he said that. We were sitting in the car at a gas station, and he looked at me and said that. And it's just one of those moments that I thought, he's so right. He's been through it. I hope to one day, be doing what he's doing and have the impact that he's making. And I was so passionate that I think it was too passionate, and didn't realize that I also have to be a good role model, that I can't burn myself out too fast. And, so I've really tried to take that to heart. And I mean, God bless Vanessa and I mean her understanding of what we do on a daily basis and some of the sacrifices that we have to put in, and how every day is a bit of an unknown. But there are down times, and that there are real opportunities in coaching to spend a little extra time with your family here and there. And so we just have to be very deliberate and again, surround yourself with great staff that help you take breaks and also make sure that they're taking breaks so that we can all, have good, healthy, balanced lives.
It's great advice from your dad. Good advice for all of us.
I agree.
It really is. All right, here's a question from T-Rex. T-Rex, we know you're out there. How does it feel to have led the team to not only 2 Big 12 titles, but 2 national championship appearances in your first year as a head coach?
Well, I really appreciate the shout out, T-Rex. I mean, that's very generous of you to say. Honestly, all the credit goes to the players and the staff. I mean, the administration, giving us an opportunity to compete throughout the year that some others weren't able to get. The sacrifices the players made to be able to train throughout the year, to be out there on the court the whole season. None of it happens without those sacrifices. The staff coming together, kind of rallying around me, giving me an opportunity, to have success. Just being out there with those guys showed me that, it had very little to do with me. I was just trying not to screw it up, and just being surrounded by great people that lift you up, make it more fun and make all of these things possible. So credit to them. It's just an honor to be a part of it.
Well, you're being much too modest. You're a huge part of that, but you do have a great team around you, don't you?
We do. Yeah. It's incredible.
That's great. Good question there, T-Rex. Let's go back to Mike Garrison. Talking about recruiting, Mike says, how do you get great recruits every year? What's your secret? What's your philosophy of recruiting?
I don't know if there's really a secret sauce or anything, and we should probably talk to Scott and Dave, some of the real big hitters around here. We're just riding their coattails, but Baylor's a really special place, and that's the honest truth. I mean, what our administration's doing, from President Livingstone to Mac roads. I mean, it's not a surprise to me that we're having this much success around all of our athletics and even on the academic side. I mean, we're thriving here at Baylor. It's a special place. We have the right people in leadership roles, and then for us, if we get down to the nitty gritty of tennis, I mean, it's giving the guys the best possible experience that are here. Not trying to be used car salesmen and get the next player in the door and then forget about them and get the next player in the door. I feel like that might work, for 1 or 2 years, and then our guys are going to ultimately be unhappy, not improving, and then they're gonna move on, or they're gonna tell the next player maybe this isn't the place for them. So for us, it's really about giving the guys a great experience, and it does make it easier that we have such a supportive administration, such a wonderful private institution that is giving the guys a great education. I mean, the brand, the product sells itself, and we just try to pour into the guys as best we can every day, and hope that word spreads.
Wow, that's great. Amen to all that. Really good philosophy there. Along those same lines, George Heath asks, is there an advantage to recruit almost entirely international players?
We do. We have 8 international players. We have 4 Americans. I think it's a great question. It's a difficult one because there are so many internationals, students that play tennis, and they play tennis at a very high level. Internationally, tennis is the second most popular sport in the world, whereas in the United States, it's about 7 or 8. On the totem pole. So there's a lot of really good athletes that are choosing to play different sports where the best athletes in other countries are playing tennis. We have such a great product that we're extremely attractive to an international student where, our budgets, the resources that we're able to provide, the staff is in some cases larger at our school with tennis than it is for the entire federation of some of the countries that of the players that we have. And so that can be difficult to turn away. These are great young men, great players, that are going to go on to great things. But at the same time, we want to be able to have guys like Jensen Brooksby, guys like Nick Sokoviak, Spencer Furman, some of the best, Will Little, Jimmy Bendick. I mean, we've had a lot of great American players here, and I think the emphasis for us is to get the best players we can possibly get. And honestly, my goal is to have about half and half. We've got 4 really strong American players here with us right now. I think that's getting close. 4, 5, 6 is probably the right number. Because it's really good for both. The Americans understand the college set up, how a dual match works, how college, how school works, how athletics works, and appreciate it. And then the international guys, they bring a culture and a humility and a gratitude to the locker room that is just very special. And that melting pot is so good for all of us. I feel like I get better every day by having that diversity. And I think it's really good for the growth and development of the young men as well. So the goal is to do both. Obviously, we want to have the most competitive and successful team, but getting the right young men, and we feel like we can handle both here.
Wow, very well thought out. All right, it's the state of the program with Michael Woodson, Baylor men's tennis. We're going to finish up with some rapid fire questions for you, okay?
Okay, sounds
These are
good.
some good ones. They've all been good questions, but these are some real good ones to, I think, wrap up with, okay?
Sounds good.
So give us your first thought on your answer to these. Back to Scotty B. He says if you had to point out some jokesters on your team, who would that be?
I think Ethan Musa is probably the biggest jokester on the team, the goofiest guy for sure.
Yeah.
He's funny, he keeps the mood light.
Nice,
Keeps
very
the mood
good.
light.
All right, Ethan, good there. Again, from Scotty B., which player, in your opinion, has the most fashion sense off the court?
Oh, geez. I'm not the right person to ask this question because what they might all consider as fashion, I think, looks silly. So, I would say probably Sven Law.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He might be surprised I say that, but I do think that I see him taking the best care of himself most often.
Nice.
So I think if I had to guess, that would be him.
Very good. Way to go, Sven. All right, Stuart Barnes says, when will Baylor host another Big 12 or national championship? Great question.
That is a great question. We will be hosting in the spring of 2025, both the Big 12 tournament and the national championship. So that's a really exciting time. We're looking forward to it. We've got guys in the locker room that are going to get to play in that. Yeah. And so we're really gearing up for that already. It's going to be exciting, and it's just a wonderful way to showcase what our beautiful facilities are. And it's a huge honor, obviously.
Yeah, that's great. I remember the first time we did that, just huge to have that on our campus.
It's critical.
2025. All right, mark it down. George Goldhoff asked, what do you prefer, Panera or Tiff's Treats chocolate chip cookies?
Yeah, he's got the inside scoop on this, so I think that's why he asked it. That's a tough one because Tiff's Treats is wonderful.
Right.
But I am a little partial to a Panera cookie,
okay.
So I think I'm going to go with Panera this time.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nothing against Tiff's Treats and all.
They're both wonderful.
All right, this is from Farm 3 RTX. How many Fazoli's breadsticks can you eat in one sitting?
I haven't tried this since I was in college, and I can remember the last time I tried to do that. I think the answer at that point was 7. So I think I'm going to probably have to back it down to probably 3 at this point. Yeah. In my older age.
I thought that was some inside knowledge there too.
No, honestly it wasn't. But I think I actually have tried it, and the answer was 7. But it was well over 10 years ago.
All right, Cody Soto, great member of our athletic department. Cody says, what's harder to win, the Big 12 regular season or tournament title?
Well, it's a good question, Cody. Honestly, I think they're both extremely difficult. I would say probably the tournament, just because depending on where you play and having to bring that high level of tennis back-to-back days. Yeah. There's an opportunity in the regular season where you can drop a match and you can go make it up somewhere else. I think having to win 2 or 3 matches in a row against top 5 schools is really difficult to do, especially depending on the venue. So I would say probably the tournament is more difficult, but the regular season is nails as well, given the level of the teams.
Yeah, different challenges.
Very different challenges.
Yeah, both very difficult. Yeah. All right, you mentioned Jimmy Bendick's name earlier. Jimmy has a question for you. Jimmy says, what was your nickname what is your nickname from Valpo?
He's just digging at me.
I'm sure he is.
My first name, Tracy. My dad would probably be upset about this because his first name is Tracy. But they used to. Some of the guys would joke and call me Tracy.
Okay.
Because they knew I was like, it's not my favorite. I like to be called Michael, so they would call that to me in my young age. And so when Jimmy found that out from one of those players, he proceeded to call me that for quite some time. So I appreciate Jimmy bringing that to the surface. It is true. That's my first name. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, that's nothing. I mean, I thought we were going to get some deep secret here from Valpo Day.
No, I think he just wanted me to say that what my first name was because most people don't know.
Gotcha. Well done, Jimmy. Cody Soto again. What's been a memorable Baylor game that you haven't been a part of? So I think he's asking another sport.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. I think people are going to think, the national championship in basketball or the Sugar Bowl, which were phenomenal games. I mean, I'm still thinking, man, what a performance the football team had the other day. And JT Woods, who gave us a shout out. I mean, what an incredible performance. But, honestly, my personal best experience was actually in the fall of 2017. My father-in-law and I drove down to College Station and we watched our Baylor women's soccer team play at A&M against Southern Cal.
Wow, yeah.
And we scored with 10 seconds left to tie it and then won it in overtime. And I mean, we were down 1-0. We were dead to rights. Yeah. And scored and then won it in overtime. And that was the most exciting experience being at another sporting event we've had. and it just sticks out in my memory. It was so much fun to go there that we ended up going back and to watch when they won again. And so it was a
cool.
special run from the
Right.
soccer team, but
Right.
that game was incredible because they fought really hard, but then they gave up the goal. I thought they're done, but to score with 10 seconds left or 8 seconds and then win it in overtime was just amazing.
That's cool. That's a great memory. All right, final one, and it's from Hayden Brillhart. Says, what has been the best part for you as a coach to watch your team have a memorable season? What's the best part of that for you?
Just seeing their hard work pay off and seeing the guys understand what's happening and appreciating it in the moment. That was really special last year. And, you see teams that kind of work really hard and they accomplish something, and it's really exciting when they accomplish it. But that doesn't last as long as the memories and the process, the journey that they have.
Right.
And what I thought was really cool about the team last year was that they were enjoying the journey every single day. They were appreciating it. I mean, I can remember just the lead up to some of the matches and how much fun the guys were having throughout, it was even after certain matches they'd come and they would be like, this is the most amazing experience ever. Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, it wasn't me. It was really cool to see that perspective, and it kept me and I think the rest of the staff really grounded and enjoying every day. That to me was so cool, is I can look back and say, yeah, we won a lot of matches. Yes, we lifted some trophies. Yeah, we lost some tough ones. But at the end of the day, like, everybody enjoyed that experience, and the journey was incredible, and we all will appreciate that forever.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. To enjoy the journey, not just the destination.
Yes.
And it sounds like you and your guys really do that.
And I hope we can continue to do that for many years, because that's the real fun.
Well, spring schedule starts, as we said, January 14th. Doubleheader on that day. Y'all ready to go?
Doubleheader on the 14th. I think we're going to be ready. Yeah,
Good.
I'm excited. I mean, Louisiana Lafayette and Abilene Christian, two teams I think a little bit better than they were last year, are going to be hungry to push us, and I'm excited to have them here. Well-coached teams, and it won't be long. On Monday we're playing SMU at home on the 17th, and they're probably going to be a top 25 team. So it's going to be exciting. At Hawkins Indoor pretty soon. So we're looking forward to it.
Final thought, preseason poll is out. You guys picked number 2 in the nation in the preseason poll. It's a pretty big target on your back.
Yes, we definitely have a big target on your back. Last year we were 15 and going in, and I remember thinking, we've got a lot to prove here, and we're underranked, and now we're right up in there, and I would say it's something that these guys have earned, and we respect it, but it doesn't mean anything. We have a lot to prove, and just because we had success last year and everything that comes along with that doesn't mean that we're just automatically going to be one of the best teams this year. So I hope our guys are working hard. I think they have been, and I think if they stay humble and disciplined and make the sacrifices they need to, we'll have an opportunity to be up there again.
Very cool. Well, let's hope you're underranked again this year. You know what that would mean.
I hope so as well.
Yeah, good luck getting the spring schedule started. Blessings on you guys, and prayers for safety and having a great season and good health for your team. And this has been fun. I appreciate it.
It's
Thanks
been
very
awesome.
much.
Thank you so much, and thanks to everybody for participating. The great questions. Appreciate all the support everybody gives to our young men in the program and Baylor Athletics. It's a really special place.
Very good. Thank you, Michael. Starting the new season. Thanks to all of you for your questions. Come out, support Baylor men's tennis. For Coach Woodson, I'm John Morris. Sic 'em Bears.